This is episode 15 of Weekly Sports Talk with Ed. Welcome back to another episode. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. First off, I want to start off with RIP to Pete Rose, one of the greatest hitters in MLB history, and RIP to the Kembe Mutombo, one of the greatest defenders in the NBA. Those two that passed away this past week. RIP to them. Grab my pen. And yeah, got a lot to cover today. The WWE Bad Blood took place. Had some upsets in college football. Had a few today actually, and MLB playoffs been kicked off. So I get started with WWE Bad Blood. It started with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in the Hell in a Cell, but it felt like this should have been the main event match. But this match, it was a 30-minute match. It was great from start to finish. It scared each other down for a few seconds. Then it just got to action. They were going back and forth, seeing tables, saw a toolbox. It was the bag of beads that was used to make the bracelet that CM Punk had. Skill steps, both guys bleeding. It's just a really fun match. Lived up to the expectations. And this match, like I said, each one of their matches just kept getting better out of the trilogy of matches they had. And this cemented itself as the feud of the year. These guys have been feuding since the Royal Rumble. This 10 months now, and they only had 3 matches, and they really made the most of it. And CM Punk was able to get the win. So shout out to him. Shout out to both of them. They put on a really good match. And these guys could really walk at the end of it. Punk needed an oxygen tank. Uh, McIntyre needed help. Just a really fun match. I'm going to turn this fan on. Hot back here. But yeah, that was the best match of the night. It was a great opener. I wish it was the main event, but then the match that had to follow up, the Hell in a Cell match, was Bailey and Nia Jax. And for any match to follow it up, this was the right decision. They followed the match up well. It was better than the first match they had a few months ago at SummerSlam. I actually enjoyed this match more than I enjoyed the last one that they had. You had a ref bump. Then Tiffany Stratton, she came out there and then she was gonna cash in. But then Nia Jax saw her. She decided not to. Now the way Nia Jax been treating Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown, choking her, degrading her, seems like Tiffany Stratton's gonna get tired of that at some point and cash in. Thought tonight was the night, but maybe that was just too obvious for her to cash in. But Nia Jax retained and was a fun match. After that, you had Priest fighting Finn Balor, but it was really a 3-on-1 with Carlito and excuse me, JD McDonough being involved. Priest was able to get the win. With the match was great, but I didn't like the decision of Priest getting the win. I feel like Finn Balor needed to get this win, and he could have had a trilogy of matches with them two. Now, this is a personal feud, but it seems like this is the end of it, and both of these guys move on to something else. Because you lose a 3-on-1, there's no way Finn can justify trying to get another match with Damian Priest. So this is likely the end of it. And sticking with the Judgment Day, Liv Morgan retained the Women's World Championship against Rhea Ripley and with Dom in a shark cage. The cage was never actually locked. Then he got free. Then he ended up getting stuck. His leg was stuck to the chain or whatever, connected to the shark cage. Rhea Ripley got distracted. She got a kendo stick and started beating Dominic. Then Raquel Rodriguez made her return. She pushed Rhea Ripley. It took the ref a minute, but then she called for the bell finally, or he called for the bell finally. Then Raquel gonna put Leah on Rhea, put Leah. Raquel put Liv on Rhea, and then but the bell had already rung, so that didn't make sense. So then Raquel, Liv, and Dom, they all walked out together. As you know, Rhea Ripley had took out Raquel Rodriguez, and she was Liv's tag team partner. So it made sense, but I didn't expect it in that moment, and it ruined. The match wasn't really great, to be honest. The ref was giving too much leniency to Rhea. It's a championship match. She needs to be focused on trying to get the championship back. She shouldn't be focused on Dominic, but the ref showed a lot of leniency in the match for Rhea, which was stupid. Then the ref then immediately called for the bell after Raquel had pushed the reel. Took a minute to realize, oh, Raquel was back. I need to ring the bell. I guess it didn't took that long. Then just the whole match. This was the only bad match on the show, and it's mainly because of the ending. Because it was actually going well, but the way it ended, I did not like that at all. Then you had the main event, the Bloodline versus Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. This this whole match, the whole everything was fun. You had Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns had WrestleMania type entrances at a B level pay per view, but it was cool. The UAPB marching band, they did their thing for Cody Rhodes. Then Roman, he had a band doing something for him. They had good entrances. A solo and fight too. They just had basic entrances like they should have. It, the entrances wasn't necessary. It was just a cool moment. But yeah, it was a fun match. Obviously, Tonga Loa, they got involved, and Roman and Cody, they wouldn't go away. Roman and Cody worked well together. There was no conflict between them two in the match. Usually see that with two guys who are rivals. There's a lot of conflict between them in the match. But aside from the beginning where they were deciding who was going to start, there was no conflict. They had each other's backs the whole time. And they were trying to win. And then you see a guy in a black hoodie with a bandana around his face. Who else would it be other than Jimmy Uso? So one of the Tongans grabbed him, super kicked him, then he super kicked the other one. He took the hood off, took the bandana off. The crowd went crazy. It's Jimmy Uso, then Roman Reigns. He hit the spear on Solo, and Roman he pinned Solo 1, 2, 3. And Roman and Cody won the match. Then Roman and Jimmy and they embraced each other. Roman, Jimmy, they nodded to Cody Rhodes, nodded back, a show of respect because they said they were gonna have each other's backs for this night. And then if Roman and Jimmy are leaving the bloodline, they attack and Cody Rhodes. It's a 4-on-1. And Jimmy was like, he looked back and he like, we should do the right thing. He's like, I'm I'm gonna do whatever you do. And then Roman Reigns, he decided, you know what, it's show not over, but let's go save him. So Roman and Jimmy, they save Cody. Then it's those three standing in the ring. Roman sees the title, he picks it up and hands it to Cody. Another sign of respect. And Cody Rhodes holds the title up. Thinks the show's about to end. Then The Rock comes out there. And The Rock, he you don't even know what he's thinking at this point because who is the tribal chief? Obviously, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is the tribal chief. Solo claiming to be the tribal chief. Maybe it's Rock the whole time, but he did this, and I don't know what that means. So I don't know if he'll be on SmackDown or what. But the Royal Rumble is coming up February 1st. Cody Rhodes is still the champion. Next two pay-per-views he got before the Royal Rumble is Crown Jewel and Survivor Series. I don't think maybe Rock could be in Survivor Series since it'll be a War Games match. And then another thing that happened, but the show overall, it was a really solid show. It was fun start to finish. Aside from the Live match, all the matches were good. One thing that didn't make sense was the announcement Triple H made. It was like the two world champions for the men and women to be fighting each other at Crown Jewel to see who will be the Crown Jewel champion. So there's going to be four champions wrestling, and two had to lose that night for no reason. And the Crown Jewel Championship, it looks nice. It's really big, but it's a nice title. But it essentially means nothing. But during that segment, the Gunther also came back. He started throwing shots at Goldberg, which was really funny. Then Sami Zayn came up there and attacked him. Yeah, that happened. Trying to see anything else. Oh yeah, after the show, it was a video of Kevin Owens attacking Cody Rhodes. They were talking uh, about uh about his tour bus, about Cody Rhodes' tour bus, and then Kevin Owens he just snapped, he turned on him. This happened off air, which is so surprising. That didn't make much sense. But yeah, WWE Bad Blood. It was a great premium live event. I really enjoyed it. That Punk and McIntyre match I might have to rewatch because it was really fun. But that's it for WWE Bad Blood. Let me know what you thought about that, about the event. AEW. When it comes to AEW, I don't really know where to start because it feels like each week I'm either losing interest in AEW or I'm gaining it back. And I feel like at this point I'm losing interest, especially after what happened, what they did on Dynamite and all that. So you have Will Ospreay versus Ricochet for the international championship. And I didn't get to see the match. I know it's probably I only saw the ending of the match, which was really confusing. But they don't want Ricochet to lose yet, and they want Ospreay to keep the title. So what was the point of having this match? You could have had Ricochet get some more wins before he challenged Ospreay, gave Ospreay a longer run. But now it's so confusing. So the match ended in a draw because both guys shoulders were down. And they both looked at each other like, let's run it back. We can do this. We can do this for a few more minutes. Then they do. But Konosuke to Takashita, he interferes for some reason. And now it's going to be a triple threat match at WrestleMania for the International Championship. And he's going to take the pin from one of these guys, probably Ricochet, because they want to put the title on him. They don't want Ospreay to get pinned. But it doesn't have Ospreay to take a pin, especially with Ricochet. This is a long rivalry that they've had for a long time. So that just feels unnecessary. Brian Danielson and Kanusuke, uh, Brian Danielson and Okada had a title for title match, but the Continental Championship was only on the line for 20 minutes, while the world title was on the line the entire time. That stipulation is dumb. I don't think there's much more I need to explain there. And matches like that is why I'm losing faith in, not faith, but losing interest in watching AEW. There's still too many championships. Even with Hook retiring the FCW championship, it still feels like it's way too many, especially with them buying Ring of Honor and trying to include that with AEW. Then you do stuff in New Japan, you do stuff with these other promotions, and that's cool. It's great that they're doing stuff for other companies, but they have way too many titles. Like some of the titles they have, they need to get rid of. Don't think Personally don't think it's enough women's storylines. I feel like there needs to be more, and they do a good job. And they've done a good job this year building some solid women's storylines, and they need to continue that with just making more. That's all I'm asking for. Then the last problem I have is how together Collision and Dynamite feels. Feels like something happens on Dynamite, the story progresses on Collision, and if you don't watch Collision, you'll be confused on the following Dynamite because you don't know what can happen. It needs to be like a brand split of some sort where you have these wrestlers are always on Dynamite and these other wrestlers are always on Collision. There needs to be some type of separation. AEW doesn't have that. But you have multiple brands, so I feel like they need to start making the separation. That'd be a lot better for the company. Moving on to some NFL stuff. These are it's four receivers that I think are gonna get traded uh soon about a trade deadline. And these are the landing spots that I have for these four. Obviously, Devontae Adams, the first receiver on the list. It's down to two teams. It's either the Jets or the Saints. The Jets, they have Aaron Rodgers, they have Alan Lazard. Those are guys he's played with before. He's used to playing with them. He would fit in perfectly. But there is a disconnect with Aaron Rodgers and their head coach, Robert Saleh. So with Devontae Adams want to be in that situation, and the Raiders as a team, they could say, forget trading you to the Jets, because that's a win now move with the Jets are able to do that. But they're not in the same division, but they're still in the same conference. So the Raiders can hold them back by not giving up Devontae Adams. And the most they can get out of him is the most they're getting back is probably Hassan Reddick, because they're just going to try to trade one of their defenders to the Raiders. I don't see them giving up one of their receivers. But a team like the Saints have Derek Carr, who he played with in college, got his wide receiver coach over on the coaching staff. He's like wide receiver coach from college. And then the Saints, they can give up Rashid Shaheed, and he's still a solid piece. You get a receiver, get a good young receiver back for Devontae Adams, and then you can get a quarterback in the draft. So if you trade Devon, the Raiders probably will want to trade him to the Saints. Those are the two teams that make the most sense. But those are the two places that he wants to go. It's obviously talks about the Ravens, but how are the Ravens gonna get that deal done? Maybe a team like the Bills, but what are they giving up to get Devontae Adams? So things like you got the Jets and the Saints. I feel like that's most likely. And speaking of the Ravens are the Ravens could be in contention for a guy like Christian Kirk from the Jaguars. Jaguars have had a bad year. They're starting 0-4. They've been bad this year. The game with the Texans looked promising. Looked like maybe they could get something together soon, but they'll probably get rid of Christian Kirk. Very talented receiver, but I don't know how long he wants to stay in Jacksonville. And he goes to immediate contender like the Ravens. Now, I'm not sure what they'll give up, but the Ravens definitely need another receiver that they can rely on other than Zay Flowers. Because if Zay Flowers is your one, then you don't really know who your two is. But if you get Kirk, Zay Flowers becomes the two, and Kirk is now your one. And that's amazing for Baltimore. One team like the Commanders, who started off good, they're 3-1. I think, yeah, they're leading the NFC East right now. And if the Commanders, they obviously they believe in Jaden Daniels. He's been spectacular to start his rookie year. You go all out and get a guy like Christian Kirk. That shows that they're serious about making a playoff run. And you don't know how far they'll get, especially with a rookie quarterback. But to make that move would be great. The Chiefs, Rasheed Rice is likely out for the season. So you're going to need somebody reliable that you can count on, get some touchdown catches, get a lot of yardage. And Amari Cooper is that guy. From the Browns, not much going on in Cleveland. So Amari Cooper would be the perfect guy for the Chiefs. I feel like that would be the perfect landing spot for him. Then the Packers, they don't necessarily need a receiver, but having a veteran receiver like a DeAndre Hopkins from the Titans would be very valuable just because you have have a really young receiver core. So you get somebody like Hopkins, and that'd just be great, a great locker room presence for them to have. Yeah. And then I did my college football playoff predictions yesterday. I had all 12 teams wrote down, but I don't even know what to say, especially after today and all the upsets that happened. Today was a crazy day for college football. It's, I got to pull up all the games from all the ranked teams. Yeah, because a few teams I had with one loss, that's not happening. That's the wrong week. Oh, yeah, Syracuse, well, I didn't even know they get. That's the first game I saw, but Syracuse beat 25 UNLV 44 to 41. But they were 25, so it don't really matter. But some of the biggest upsets was Texas A&M winning by 31 against Missouri. That was surprising. That was one of the most surprising stories of the early window. Vanderbilt beat Alabama 40 to 35. And this is back-to-back weeks where Alabama has gave up more than 30. So I don't know what's been going on with the defense these last 2 weeks. But this hasn't looked good. They almost let Georgia come back. And this week they lose to a team like Vanderbilt. And it's so crazy because Alabama beat Georgia and Georgia, they dominated. Georgia dominated Clemson, but then Kentucky was able to beat Georgia. College football is just so confusing and unpredictable. Arkansas, they beat number 4 Tennessee. Now Arkansas has played good this year, and they've been in some close games. They could be 5-1 right now, but they're 4-2. But to see them beat Tennessee, that was impressive. Minnesota beat number 11 USC, so their playoff chances definitely went down. It's going to be very hard for them to make it. Michigan now has 2 losses after losing to Washington today. This is just And currently at the moment, California is up on Miami 21 to 10. This is just the day of the upsets. And with that being said, Clemson keeps winning, and they're 15 right now. But with some of these upsets that can happen, they can probably move up to number 10. And I guess I can still say the teams I had in here, but I realized I made a mistake. So I had the problem with my 12 teams. I didn't have a Big 12 team in there. And somebody from the Big 12, they said I'll probably go with BYU. So you don't hear a Big 12 team in there. That's why, because I forgot that they had to have a team in the playoffs. But it was yesterday. My bracket was Texas at 1, Ohio State 2, Tennessee 3, Alabama 4, Georgia 5, Miami 6, Penn State 7, Oregon 8, Missouri 9, LSU 10, Clemson 11, and Notre Dame 12. And then Tennessee and Alabama both lost. So they can't finish 3 and 4 now because they're gonna have to play each other at some point, and then they'll probably be they'll still be in the playoffs, but they'll be lower than what I said. Missouri, their chances definitely went down after the day. Yeah, I didn't think Michigan would lose today, but I didn't see them remaining good enough to be in the playoffs. But yeah, with Missouri likely out of it, I'll probably just move everybody up and put BYU at 12. Just or if I was doing it yesterday, so that's the upsets today. And it's been upsets every week. And it's fun because it just shows how unpredictable football season is. It's amazing to watch. And then these are next segment is 10 NBA predictions I have going into the season. So, the NBA season coming up soon. Preseason has started already. But these are just my 10 that I feel the most confident in. I think Nikola Jokic leads the league in assists this year. He's one of the best playmakers in the league. It's surprising how good of a playmaker and passer he is for a big man. But the Nuggets, I don't think they're a championship contender this year, but they still have a good team. They're going to be great in the regular season. Jokic still do his thing. Aaron Gordon looks like he's improved, especially, but that's from preseason. But he got Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and the Russ now, Jamal Murray. I think Jokic will lead the league in assists this year. I think Ben Simmons will average 12.7 rebounds and 6 assists. And I think he plays over 50 games this year. Ben Simmons looks healthy. He looks ready to go. I mean, the Nets are going to be historically bad this year. I don't expect them to be good. But I think Ben Simmons will have a solid season. He obviously won't be the all-star that he once was. He won't be all NBA like he once was. But he'll have a solid season. I think he'll prove that he's still prove that he's a quality role player and a championship team to use him. That's what I see out of Ben Simmons this year. Bruce Lopez, I think he's coming off the bench for the Bucks. I think they're gonna run a lot of Giannis at center this year. I see Brook Lopez to be the backup. With his age catching up to him and the back problems, it's probably best if he just comes off the bench. I'm predicting Trae Young to play 70 games this year. He's played over 70 2 or 3 times in his career. He didn't do it last year, but I think he stayed healthy. I think the Hawks are 9 seed. They could potentially be higher, but it's just the Eastern Conference getting a lot better now. But I think Trae Young plays 70 games. I'm predicting Wemby to lead the league in rebounds per game in the second season. He's gonna be an all-star. He's gonna be he's already one of the best defenders in the league. He's just gonna improve, probably win defensive player of the year. I think what's gonna help that is him being able to get more rebounds. He can put on 25 pounds. So I think he can put on 25 pounds. So I see him getting up there, getting them boards. I don't know how many he averaged last year, but I definitely see it rising and rebound per game. James Harden, I see him averaging, I think he averages 22, 23 points this season. He averaged 16 last year. Paul George isn't there now, so I know that'll be a pretty decent jump. But it's like we know James Harden can do it. He's averaged more than that before. So I think he averaged 22, 23 points this season. Yeah, especially, and you don't know when Kawhi be there. James Harden, basically, the ball is going to be in his hands all the time. Even when Kawhi comes, even when Kawhi is healthy, Harden had the ball a lot. I think OKC would be the only team to finish top three in offense and defense. You talking about Shea, one of the best scorers in the league. You got Chet, a really good defender. Kason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hardenstein, Isaiah Joe, J Dub. You got all these guys in OKC. They're just so good at what they do. They're one of the best defenses in the league last year. Shea was one of the best offensive players in the league last year. And I just think that they rise. I think they'll be the first seed again. There's multiple teams that'll be top 10 in offense and defense. But I think they'll be the only team to be top three in offense and defense. Because I like what all their guys can do on both sides of the ball. There's not like it's any one-dimensional players over there. And now you would have to actually back up and check when he goes out, when he's resting, or if he gets hurt. Knock on wood, don't want nobody to get hurt. But you're gonna have options in case something happens. Now I think Orlando is gonna have the best defense in the league. I see them being the fourth or fifth seed this year. Probably, yeah, I say fourth seed. I think KCP is gonna help them take a jump. Paulo, Franz, Wendell Carter, Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, all these guys. This team was one of the best defensive units in the league last year. And I think they're going to be the best defensive unit this year. And I like everything they can do. I like the addition to KCP. I really believe in this Orlando team. Now, this one make them, these next two make them to shock the people. But I don't see, I think the Clippers, Lakers, and Warriors all miss the playoffs. I don't see any of them getting to the playoffs. The Clippers, it's really just Kawhi and James Harden, and Kawhi is a theorist that James Harden. And I'm not to take shots to any of the other guys, but compared to those other teams, when their top star goes down, they have other guys that they can rely on to step up. If let's say Durant goes down, and obviously we don't want nobody to get hurt. We don't want to. They still have Booker, Beal, got those guys you can go to, and we know Booker can win games. Look at the Timberwolves. If Ant goes down, you still have, well, maybe not, nah, but that team, well, even if Ant does go down, that Timberwolves team is still deeper than the Clippers because you got Dante DiVincenzo now, you got Julius Randle, you got Jaden McDaniels. With the Clippers, it's like you have Terrence Mann and you have Norman Powell, but these guys aren't comparing to the other supporting cast of teams in the West, like Minnesota, like OKC, like Dallas. If Kyrie goes down, you still have Luka and Clay. The Lakers, it's just what's around LeBron and AD. Like this team, they can always be solid enough to make the play in, but they can't really go on a deep enough run because it's nothing. It's not enough surrounding LeBron and AD. I mean, you have Reeves, you have D'Lo, but that's just not enough in the Western Conference. Then the Warriors, they got Stephen Dre, but I just don't think it'll be enough this year. Then the Bucks, I've expressed this time and time again on my podcast. I don't like this team. It's not it's not Giannis and Dame. That's not the problem. They're a great duo. Had a good season last year. I think it'll be better this year. But it's what's surrounding them. Chris Middleton, injury prone, especially down these last few years. He's been dealing with injuries. Brooke Lopez, the back problem, all that. The bench, I don't outside of Bobby Portis, I don't trust what's coming off that bench. And those are my 10 predictions for the NBA. Next, moving into the WNBA. The semifinals been going on this week. The Liberty are currently up on the Aces 2-1. The Liberty won the first two games, and the Aces won game three to stay alive. And two of those games were won by double digits. Game one and game three were both 10 plus point games. Only game that was close to game two, which Liberty won by four. Uh, and in game three, Sabrina Ionescu, she played bad. She had like 4 or 5 and 5. Shot terrible. And she was doing everything else, but her shot was not falling in game three. But Kelsey Plum for the Aces in game two. And she just would have played a little bit better. They could have won that game too. They could have won game two. And the series could have been tied 1-1 instead of them facing elimination going into game three. Feel like she would have stepped up in that game, they could have won. And yeah, the Aces won game three to stay alive. And Ada Wilson, the MVP, she's been doing her thing, been great in the playoffs. The Minnesota Lynx are up on the Connecticut Sun 2-1, and they've won the last two games, won games two and three. Game one was a 3 point game, which the Sun won. But the games that the Lynx have won, it's been by 7 points and 9 points. And both teams, like, they've been consistent, but Minnesota's just outplaying Connecticut. And I don't think Connecticut was a match for Minnesota anyways. They had the Lynx winning in four. They could close it Sunday if they get a win. But I expect Connecticut to put up a fight. But the thing is, in the win that the Sun had, they had a +4 advantage in the first half. They were up by four. But in the first half, in the Lynx two wins, they have a +18 advantage. One game they were up six, another they were up 12. So it seems like whoever's leading at halftime is going to win the game. It's, it's like these last two games, the Minnesota have just been able to pull away. And to cover a little bit of the baseball playoffs, the wild card round, and most of it was pretty entertaining. You had only one series won three, the other three series were all sweeps. But the most entertaining sweep was the Royals and the Orioles. They was real competitive. The Royals won in game one, 1-0 in game two, 2-1. So they won both by one. The Orioles had a chance, just wasn't able to get the job done. The Tigers swept the Astros. I think that's the series I watched the most of because that was on right before I went to work, so I was able to see a few innings when I had to go to work. Yeah, I was surprised to see the Astros lose like that. They lost 3-1 and they lost 5-2. Definitely surprised. I thought it would have went three. I didn't think the Tigers would win in that, but they did. The Padres swept the Braves for one game one 4-0 and game two 5-4. I mean, that happened. Then the Mets and the Brewers was only 3 game series, but these games weren't really close. I mean, the Mets won the series 2-1. The Mets won game one 8-4. That's that's basically a blowout. It's 4 runs. I mean, games two and three were a bit closer, but it was still 2 runs. Like the Brewers won 5-3, and in game three, last game of the series, the Mets won 4-2. Yeah, that's it for the wild card round. Really, I have more. I have more stuff to say next week because I have more time to watch the playoffs. Now moving on to athletes of the week. For the NFL, I went with Jared Goff. He had a perfect game. He was 18 to 18 passing, had 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had a 7 yard receiving touchdown. And they won. The Lions beat the Seahawks 42-29. And there was Monday night. Yeah, that was Monday night. Uh, excuse me. That was a great game. W for WWE, I went with CM Punk after the brutal Hell in a Cell match that he had with Drew McIntyre. It was a really fun match, really great match. So I had to give it to CM Punk. Then for the WNBA, went with Asia Wilson. The Aces are down 1-2, and Sunday they got a tie. They need to tie it up to stay alive. For Asia Wilson, she averaged 21.3 points per game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, point free steals, 1 block, shot 58% from the field, shot 50% from three, only on 2 attempts, and 70% from the free throw line. But that's it for today's episode of the podcast. Make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down your thoughts on anything I talked about. As I covered WWE Bad Blood, talked about the AEW, talked about where some of the receivers in the NFL should go. College football is getting the same, but the upsets, uh, the NBA predictions. This is the last time I'm doing predictions for the NBA. I'll be ranking the best 6 man in the league next week. Uh, WNBA semifinals gave a recap of what's been going on so far. Baseball, I have more to say next week because I wasn't able to watch all these games, but I definitely seen some of them. I don't act like just going into the blind. I didn't see some of the games. Uh, Jose Altuve wasn't able to do enough to get the Astros ahead, but better luck next year. But yeah, peace.